Our idea of Birthing Bonds is to empower and also raise awareness with moms on a lot of issues like birthing, lactation, and also alternative philosophies of education and mindful parenting. As Divya would call it, probably slow parenting. So this entire idea was also because parenting is a very, very new journey for all of us when we take it. We try to learn from our own parents, we try to learn from a lot of websites, we kind of get to know from friends. So it's a continuous parenting journey at every stage, from the time we are pregnant and to the time the child is born to, I think, probably till 20-25 years, and it's always we are learning something or the other as a parent. And we try to do the best for our children. We want to give them the best education. So education is on every parent's mind. How do I teach the right things or enable the right things for my child? So we thought it would be a good session to have with Divya. So today, specifically on Waldorf, I was telling you also, Divya, that my son is in a Waldorf school right now. He's in Kingdom of Childhood. So I have been like very, very happy with it for the past 6 months from when he's been going. So I have seen so much difference in him, in fact, from the time he's been going, even in his emotional development, as to how he handles his fear, how he's overcome his fears also with storytelling. And a lot of things like how he's more patient, caring for younger children. I have seen all of these differences, and I'm like really happy with it. So, so even before this talk itself, we just ran a poll on with whoever are our followers to see who's aware of Waldorf, who's sending their children to CBSE, mainstream schools, or any other alternative philosophies. So the results that we we have got is more in line with 50% are looking at CBSE, ICSE itself. 25% are at least thinking about Montessori, and 25% are probably into either homeschooling or Waldorf, into any of the other alternative philosophies. Also, around 85% answer that they're not aware of Waldorf. So even when I tell anyone that Rohan is going to a Waldorf school, no one is I need to explain as to what is Waldorf. Montessori is more well known. There are other alternative philosophies also. So guys, first let me introduce Divya to you. Divya is the founder and the main person behind Tulsi Waldorf Kindergarten, which is based in HSR layout. And she also runs a very nice curated store called My Little Book Shop, which has a lot of beautiful books and toys for children. So yeah, Divya, now I'll hand it over to you. So please tell us a little bit more about yourself and how you bumped into this world of Waldorf. Please,
yeah. So hello everyone. The first time that I'm coming live, and Shamala invited me for this session. So thank you, Shamala, for getting into this out of comfort zone for me. Yeah. So I'm basically a commerce graduate, and I later on pursued my fine art degree in Mysore University, and then I did my fashion designing also simultaneously. So I was working as a design manager in a stained glass home accessory company based in Bangalore. I was a design manager there, and my boss was in UK. So she had handed over the entire running of the store to me, and she was guiding me from UK. So I did that for 1.5 years, and then I felt my passion lies somewhere else. So I was exploring, I was meeting friends, and I came across Dr. Lakshmi's talk, and I was just interested to know what she's going to talk about. I called Manivanan, who's the head of Kingdom of Childhood, and he said, if you want to know about this philosophy, we are having this talk by Dr. Lakshmi, so please come over. So after attending that talk, it was like a life-changing event for me. She said something very special that still, is very close to my heart. She said that when you work with children, you feel healed. You heal yourself. So I was interested to know what is, healing yourself. Should I even be healed? What is wrong with me? So I joined the nearest Waldorf kindergarten, which was very close to my house then. And after that, it was no looking back. I went in
Nice.
depth into the philosophy, and I can say that I have experienced healing within myself. We have gone through a very rough education system, I feel, all of us. And when parents also now come to me, they say that they don't want their children to suffer the way they have.
Hmm.
So that is how I came across Waldorf.
Okay, nice. So when we're talking about, of course, all of us have done education. Most of us would have done it either in CBSE, ICSE, or in state board schools. And probably that time the education was, even though it was a little bit of rote learning and all that, probably the competition was at a different level. But right now things are at a totally different level, isn't it? So one thing,
Yeah.
I was really concerned for my own child was, I didn't want him to be not clear as a person. It's okay to some extent, but I feel that a lot of our friends, a lot of us have got into a mainstream kind of jobs, and a lot of us are probably not happy with also what we are doing. We also don't know ourselves. So I wanted his education to be more about exploring what, probably not what he wanted, but at least what interests him, and his interests can probably change also. He should be confident enough about that. He should be confident about himself. So that was one of the biggest concerns I probably have with the current education system, the mainstream. So so what do you think are the main challenges that you feel is with the current mainstream education? Before we jump into Waldorf, I just wanted to ask you.
Yeah. I think mainstream education is more like result oriented and exam oriented. Our marks decide who we are, but I mean, all of us know that we are not what our marks are, right?
Yeah.
Don't you feel so?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. True.
Yeah. So, and there's too much pressure on the teachers to complete their portions. They have a target that they have to, dump a certain amount of information on the child, but nobody is there to understand whether the child is processing that information and how much of the information is he processing. So it becomes like an indigestion of too much information, unprocessed information on the child. And the worst part of the system is the early child education. The children who are meant to be playing, they have been the playtime is cut out, and they are made to sit and write for half an hour, 45 minutes. But we all know a child at 3 cannot even sit for 5 to 10 minutes and play with one puzzle or with one block. So a child is meant to be moving. He's not designed to sit in a place and write. So as early as 3, schools are forcing children to write and to read. They are teaching how to read 3-letter words, 4-letter words. So that is a lot of stress which is not visible at this stage, but it shows up in a much later stage in our adulthood. And if you also give food to a 3-year-old child, you can see that the grasping, the finger coordination is so poor. He's still developing it, and when he eats, there's food spilled all over, outside the plate. And the same child, we expect him to hold a pencil and write, and not just write, but write in 4 lines. Within the 4 lines, a child should be writing A, B, C, D. And if he's not writing, he's labeled as a slow learner, or there are so many different labels these days, ADHD, etc. So, and then the parents is also stressed that their child is not capable. He's not meeting the normal standards.
Normal things.
Yeah. Very, very conveniently, we have brought down the grade 1 curriculum down to kindergarten. And grade 2 is now almost like a grade 1 curriculum.
One. So everyone's trying to like just learn more and more as much as possible
Yeah,
when you're young.
yeah,
Yeah, and I also saw some something about even physical development as to how the hands of small children are very different from as they grow up they're able to do more motor skills. They're much smaller their hands. I saw a photo also on that as to how we shouldn't
yes,
force
yes,
children to write at that stage when
yes.
it's just
That
developing.
post went viral.
Yeah, yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how would you best describe Waldorf, Divya? Because many parents here are not aware of Waldorf. How would you describe the Waldorf philosophy? If you could just introduce it to us, yeah, in your own way. Yeah.
Yeah. So there are a lot of alternative philosophies. Krishnamurti, Montessori, and Reggio. Yeah, so in Waldorf, what happens is we concentrate more on the head, heart, and hands concept, which means head means is more like an intellectual learning or what to say, like more academically oriented. Heart is like learning from the soul. So music, arts are all connected to the heart element. And hands means our whole body. Hands is a representative of the physical body of a human being.
Yeah.
So we want to integrate head, heart, and hands into the education system. So when a child is learning, for instance, the concept of garden, so the child is working with his hands and limbs in the garden. He is doing the gardening. So we don't bring it out just as a head concept that gardening means this. You have to sow the seed and then the sprouts come out. So it is more of the child experiencing gardening. And then in the kindergarten we sing songs on gardening, on flowers, butterflies, bees. So the child is also learning music. And many
True.
times the children also draw out their experience during the drawing days and the painting days. They're drawing the butterflies, they're drawing the seeds, they're drawing earth. So this is the heart element. And the head element is of course the concept of garden. Without touching the head of the child in the earlier years, the child already knows what a garden is and what the concept of garden is. So this is just an example. So, but if you look at look at it in a broader perspective, in the first 7 years, we concentrate more on the physical body development of the child. The next 7 years, that is 7 to 14, the Waldorf grade school curriculum is designed in such a way that the child's soul is developed, feeling life is developed. And after 14 years is when the thinking body develops in the child. So we do not stress more on the intellectual aspect, but we would like children to learn the same concepts which is taught in mainstream school, but more through an experience.
Okay.
So this is what I feel is unique about Waldorf.
Nice. You were talking about music and all that, right? So I have seen that Rohan kind of like sings for everything, and he gets relaxed so much when I start singing. So even when during a tantrum, if I just have to rather than say a sentence or just scream at him, if I sing the same thing to him, he immediately like just cools down. He's happy and he can just listen. I don't know whether it might be the effect of singing in his school, and he's much more relaxed when there are songs and he's singing and playing and things like that. And and also the kind of activities I know of what happens, right? He does something like knitting is like a major activity for them. So he just loves to do that, like sit for like 2-3 hours, and he'll just be knitting, one finger knitting, two finger knitting. That's all he will be doing. And eating. I've also seen a lot of videos of your school. Eating, I think, is a major activity. Sharing, sharing comes through that. Sharing responsibilities come through that, and things like that. So if you could help us, get to know a bit better of how is a typical day at your kindergarten? What are the activities that children do? What kind of, what do they use? I also get the feeling that Waldorf is not a lot into nature-based kind of material. rather than
Yes.
plastics and new type of material. So if you could just tell us and probably also show us a bit, that would be like really really useful,
Yeah,
interesting
sure.
too.
Our day at Tulsi begins with free play, indoor free play. So this play is not guided by the adult. The child chooses the materials and he starts playing on his own. So he takes the building block, starts building, and then he calls his friends and he said, "You bring me that block, I will build this. So you make this, you make that." So there's a lot of social interaction and language development happening during playtime. So, and if you see our play materials, can you see?
Yeah.
These are pods from the mahogany tree, and these are some slices from the wood. So they build with such things. They use such materials to make their houses and castles and whatever they want to make. This is a special pod that we found in Cubbon Park during March. So this had a nice seed inside.
Seed.
So seed, yeah. So these are, and coasters like this.
Hmm.
So they are called unstructured play materials or open-ended toys. And these are some pine cones.
Wow.
So these are some mango seeds, which is dried after eating them nicely.
After
And
enjoying them,
these,
yeah.
yeah, and these are
Yeah.
some corks.
Okay.
So they are children use them as mushrooms, and these are used as trees and houses sometimes. So these kind of toys allows the child to think beyond what it is. It's like you are facilitating out of box thinking at an early age, which is a must have in today's corporate world.
Hmm.
So, and what happens is we don't use any plastic. This is more like a sensory experience for the child. When the child touches these kind of toys, it is rough and some are smooth,
Smooth.
and these have a different kind of texture. So when they play with these kind of materials, they're touching it, they're feeling it. So it provides a very rich sensory experience to children. So this kind of play we encourage, and after playtime the children clear up on their own. We sing a clear up song. So the instructions are not said as a, like an instruction. They don't seem like an instruction. We sing the instructions. We sing the clear up song, and children start to clear up the whole place. And after this clear up time, we have the morning circle time. Our circle time has a lot of rich songs. They are all connected to the seasons or festivals that happen around us. So for example, now we are in the mango season. So we sing songs on mangoes. We also we make the mango amras. You know amras, no? We
Yes.
in Kannada we call sikarne. So children, they experience mango in all ways. They taste the mango. They sing about the mango. So this is how the circle times are. And after the circle time, we have fruit time, wherein we serve the local, grown fruits, and they're almost always seasonal fruits. So watermelon is meant to be eaten in summer, not during December, although it is available right through the year now. And the custard apple comes around. Such seasonal fruits,
I think there's
and
just
children absolutely love all kinds of fruits.
true,
After
true.
the fruit time, the children play outdoors. We have a sand pit. The children build a lot of things in sand. Sometimes we take them to the park. They climb trees. They dig, roll down. So they play all kinds of things outdoors. And we come back for lunch. So here we have a special concept in Waldorf Kindergarten where parents provide lunch for the whole class. They take turns to provide lunch. So we encourage parents to cook local cuisine. So our lunch is usually the rice, rasam, one vegetable fry, salad, and curd rice. So this children eat, and after that they have a story time. So this is how our day is. So we don't
Nice.
have any kind of academic work during the in the world of kindergarten.
True, true. And this is till about 7 years of age. That's what we are
Yes,
looking at it,
7 years. Yes.
kindergarten. Nice, nice. So yeah, I like once Rohan came back singing Gajar Ka Halwa Banega, and he was like singing it for like one whole month. And one day they had a Gajar Ka Halwa day, and I can't tell you how excited he was. And and I think it also it's more to do with I've heard about this willing part, right, of the child being within up to 7 years, invoke only their will and not the intellect, and not focus on the intellect and feelings probably. So yeah, so he's like willing to do, willing to help out in work, kitchen work. He's introduced to all of those concepts, which I
Yes.
also found very very interesting. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, and yeah, that was very very nice. So you were talking about play. So again, it's about I think in your terms, it's more about invoking the imagination of the child, and probably till 7 years they're more looking at imagination and imitation rather than
Yeah,
other things.
play is like their work. So now how we have our passions. So same way, and we are, passionate about our work that we have chosen. For children, play itself is work for them. And when I'm working in the kitchen, my daughter comes and she wants to help in everything that I do, make chapatis, make akki roti, cut vegetables, grate salad for me, and that also is play for them. They don't look at it as a
As a
work.
work.
So they play with it. She grates and then she squeezes. So that also is play for them, and that is the will work. Through play, the will is being we are encouraging the will to develop. And also we have these kind of handwork for children in before, like facilitating writing skills, which comes much later for children. So this you take the yarn and you go in and out. So you can see that a nice
Stitch, yeah.
beautiful mat will be done
Yeah.
after this, after the whole thing is done. And so this kind of knitting they do, they
Yeah.
make cords like this, and with this cord they stitch a mat or a rug. I have posted lot of pictures how children use these materials. So lot of handwork also we encourage, which is developing the will of the child. And yeah, so yeah, lot, and also folding clothes, and
Yeah.
cleaning, dusting, sweeping, all kinds of work. We have to be confident to let children do this kind of work. And
True.
I can look back. My mother always allowed me to do certain things, but of course she was very irritated that I want to wash clothes instead of my helper. But nowadays, I'm very happy when my child comes and wants to do this kind of work.
True. It's also
Yeah.
instilling a sense of responsibility, right, in them, that this is
Yes.
what they have to do. We don't have to put everything on others. One of our friends, Divya, has written that it's much needed. Knitting is much needed for adults too. It's a forgotten piece of art.
Yes,
Totally.
definitely.
It's a very meditative thing to do. It's very nice to do knitting actually.
Yeah. And I think someone also asked, won't children eat sand?
Yeah, I think
So
it was one of the questions.
children do eat sand. Not all children eat sand, but some of them do, and it's just a phase. If an adult is supervising, then we can, watch over the child, make sure the child is not eating the sand. But playing with sand is very, very important. it provides a great sensory experience for the child, especially with children who have, who are labeled with the different things like autism and ADHD. For them, playing in sand is very calming. Even for other children also, it is very very calming experience. Sand play can go for over an hour sometimes.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah, so sand, I think another aspect on sand is also like if you're actually on the earth, it provides a lot of earthing, which is very much needed.
Yes,
It's one
very
of the
much.
nature cures method to
Yes.
heal the body. And Rohan himself has eaten sand, like you say, it's a phase.
Yeah.
And he did it when we never expected him to do it. It was quite recent. He's already 5 now. It was probably around 4.5. He was just normally playing, and he just put sand into his mouth normally. So all we did was just go like ask him to spit it out and just
Yeah.
put water, and because
Yeah.
it's okay. I mean, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's fine.
In our tradition, Krishna ate sand,
Yeah.
So it is meant to be celebrated.
True, true. So I think yeah. So we got a like how what are the kind of activities and all that. So another important aspect I wanted to ask you was like we touched upon lot of emotions of the child, right? So the will is also like the emotions of the child is also developing. So how do you guys deal with emotional development? Because as far as I understand, in normal schools there is no connection to emotions. It's only about academics. So is there a part of Waldorf that, or is it like integrated so well into the philosophy itself that the emotional development of the child is taken care?
Yeah, it is very much integrated in the curriculum, and we focus more on the physical development before 7 years. And after 7 years is when the emotional aspect is addressed. Before 7, the child may cry, throw tantrums, and and it is very normal for a child to be that way. We adults don't throw tantrums and behave like, we
No,
don't
we
cry
do.
for
I'm telling you,
things.
sometimes we do. All of
Yeah.
us do sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is very different with children.
Yeah, true.
We
Yeah.
our tantrums is more, we have depth, we have a reason why we do that. But children don't, they are naturally throwing tantrums and throwing things, and very nicely it is integrated into our curriculum, where we don't address the emotional aspect of the child at that early stage. We don't confront the child and say this is not good, we don't do this. It is not taught as a moral to them, but they learn through imitation. When you say they're learning through imitation, who are they imitating? They are imitating us, teachers, mothers, fathers,
Yeah.
adults
Yeah.
around us. So we have to be the role model. When you choose a philosophy like Waldorf, it is not just like you're sending your child to a school and then you can do what you want at home. It is a very big challenge for the parents also, and parents choose this philosophy with a lot of consciousness. So we have to be role models. If we have to bring some changes in our lifestyle, in our homes, then we have to, because the child is seeing everything and he is processing it, and that becomes him. So we have to be the role models, and if we are in a certain way, the children also pick up. So we don't teach it as a moral science, like how we had a subject in when we were
No,
growing.
true. No, children are like very good imitators. We need to keep that in mind. One of Rohan's Rohan's teacher was telling me that like she is very very careful in the classroom because she can't do like anything she does. The child is going to pick up. So she needs to be very very careful when she's in the classroom. That's what she had communicated with us also. So. So now we have so how important are teachers in Waldorf? Because teachers are like have a huge impact. Even when looking back at our own lives, our own schools and friends. Even now, I like certain teachers. I probably like certain subjects because of certain teachers. There are
Yeah.
good experiences, there are bad experiences, and probably I have not taken finance or anything to do with because I had a very bad finance sir. So, so things like that. So
Yes.
how important are teachers in Waldorf? Because I've seen them being really, really involved more than any other schools that I know of or any other curriculums I know of. They kind of like are very personal to the child. They observe the child very much, and also they are going to be with the child for a very, very long time. So please tell us more about the speciality of Waldorf teachers. Yeah.
Yeah. See, as a Waldorf teacher, I would say we need to be emotionally, mentally, and physically strong because our well-being directly impacts the child. If I have had a fight at home and if I come with that kind of emotions to a classroom, then the child immediately gets that feeling. And even at home, the way we talk to our partners and the way we talk to our helpers, how we talk to our elders, all that matters to a little child. The child is processing all that. So I would not say just being a Waldorf teacher, but any adult around the child makes a huge impact on the on that child. Yeah, we have a lot of we have our training programs which help us build our emotional quotient and how we have to do our meditation. It is a very spiritual journey for a teacher. Spirituality is not taught as a subject or a concept to children, but it is mostly meant for us, to calm down and to handle our emotions, so that when we are in the classroom, we are more, present to the child's needs. Yeah, so it does take a lot to be a Waldorf
So
teacher. It
is
is
this
not.
what you mean by healing yourself? Because it's
Yes,
more of a
yes,
spiritual journey and how you understand child, how you let go of things, how you, like you said, how you're present. Um,
yes.
okay, nice. So, so when did you start this school, Diva? How long has it been?
So Tulsi was started 3 years ago, and I was. I don't know how to say, but my daughter was only 2.5 then, and there was few parents in this vicinity who knew about Waldorf and who were already sending their children to Steiner School in Bangalore, and so they didn't want the younger ones to travel so far, so they I would say inspired me or pushed me, I should say sometimes. They pushed me into starting this kindergarten. So it's in my house that I run this kindergarten. We started with 6 children. Now we have 13 children. This year, of course, because of the pandemic, the numbers have gone down. But it's a very personalized kindergarten, I can say, because my daughter also is a part of this kindergarten, and she absolutely loves it.
How
Yeah,
old is she now? She's about five.
she's 5. She just turned 5.
Okay, nice, nice. So, what, can you just tell us what are the other schools in Bangalore itself on Waldorf? If you're just so different areas, so if people want to reach out.
Yeah, if they visit Sadhana website, they can find the nearest Waldorf kindergarten
Oh,
in
nice.
their vicinity. In Bangalore, we have Prakriti Waldorf Kindergarten in Indranagar. There is Kingdom of Childhood in JP Nagar. There is Bangalore Steiner School on the outskirts of Bangalore on
Kanakpura Road.
Kanakpura Road. There is In Bloom in Domlur. And there's Promise Center near Banaswadi. There's also
Okay.
Chiguru near Hormau, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
so
they would
we are
get a
this.
list in that particular website.
Yes, yes. And a lot of parents, I know, in fact, 80% of our Tulsi parents have moved their houses closer to Tulsi. They have been in different places, but because of they wanted this kind of setup, they have moved closer. So a lot of parents, I'm sure even it's the same at Kingdom of Childhood or Bangalore Steiner School, parents move closer to the school when they
True.
feel that, I really want this for my child and they're passionate about this kind of education for their child. Parents move closer to schools. It's the
True.
same in Hyderabad, Bombay, everywhere.
Mm. No, it's true. Like completely in Kingdom of Childhood, also like everyone, whoever is part of the school is like it's like a community setup. How you described. Whoever is part of the school is like completely passionate about what is happening at the school, and they would not think twice about moving. So now they are coming up with another campus in Kanakpura Road. So whoever wants to have the grade school is moving next to the school. So the involvement is quite high when it comes to
Yes,
this kind of
absolutely.
setup.
Yeah.
So there is also a question that has come up, and I also wanted to ask you. So when we are talking about having a Waldorf kind of philosophy or a mindset, not only at school to provide children not only at school but also at home, because it's equally important that they see role models and the right things happen at home, and the kind of rhythms that we are talking about also happens a lot at home. So how do we enable such stuff at home? Would you like to tell something to parents? I'll tell you the exact question. How do we implement Waldorf philosophy at home? So any advice that you would like to give?
Um, I would say, firstly, emotional, mental well-being of the adults at home. Firstly, like we spoke about imitation, so we have to take care of ourselves, our relationships. So that impacts the children, and I would say the environment, the kind of the setup that we have, it should not be too much busy. We should not. It could be minimum things in our house. We don't have to have a house full of materials because that is also very overstimulating for the child. That is one way of implementing Waldorf, and providing a lot of outdoor play to the child. I can see a lot of parents saying, "Don't go into the mud. Don't go. It's raining. It's too hot. Don't go out." I mean, the nature is designed in such a way that we have to be exposed to all kinds of weather. You wear a cap and you walk in the sun. You take an umbrella and go in the rain. The children have to enjoy nature as is. We cannot change the weather and then make it comfortable for the child to fit inside a particular weather. So we encourage the child to be exposed to all kinds of weathers, and let them play like how we played when we were young, in mud and with stones or climbing trees, falling down. That is one. And singing songs, you can sing a lot of traditional songs. Most importantly, singing in mother tongue is very, very important, whatever your mother tongue is. And even if the father is speaking a different language, then he can also bring stories from his culture, his language, and the mother can bring her culture and her native language. So that is another thing. And most importantly, I would say, on nowadays there is a big hype about homeschooling, and I can speak for more younger children. I would say don't teach at home. I would say just be a parent and recollect how your mother was, how she had a routine of doing things at the right time. She would wake up in the morning, she would have certain things to do in the morning, have bath only, and then she would go into the kitchen and washing clothes. She would have one particular time, and the way she dried the clothes, it would look like artistic work, wherein all the way she would hang the clothes, the process of hanging clothes itself would be so artistic. and it mostly sums up to cooking and feeding freshly cooked food for the child, and playing simple things like hide and seek, hopscotch, um, and that is what we remember of our mothers, and that is the image that we have of our mothers. It is not how many activities she designed for me or how many worksheets she gave me. So I would say that be a mother at home, and the father also is equally playing an important role, sharing responsibilities, being a good partner is like building an image for the child, how you are as a father and amongst both of yourselves. You are actually being a role model for the child. So just that is a world of environment, like how we were raised. But today's nuclear families, you see that we don't have rhythms, including myself. I struggle to bring a rhythm at home. And we don't allow children to, like when we have babies at home, we are so skeptical of putting them on the floor. We want to put them on a cushioned bed or a mattress these days, and we're so scared if a child puts something in the mouth. So our grandparents were, they did not care much about these things. But today we have become so sensitive that we are passing on the vibes to our children. So yeah, just look back. If you're like Rujuta Divakar, no, she says if your grandmother approves it, then that's what you follow.
Yeah. Yeah, true. Now, like a lot of them are also kept away again from mud. You know, they see it as dirt, and a lot of them don't even like they don't play in nature. So I think there is a term also called nature deficit disorder. Um, there are so many things that are that are happening because of our fear that we pass on to them. Yeah. So I'm just going to go over some of the questions. Folks, any more questions, please ask us now. You know, I will try to address it. So some Swati has asked, are there Waldorf schools in Tamil Nadu? Are you aware of schools
Yes,
in Tamil Nadu?
yes, very much. In fact, I would say there are Waldorf schools coming up in smaller towns of Tamil Nadu compared to Karnataka. Bangalore has a lot of schools, but if you go interiors of Karnataka, there are hardly anything. People are not exposed to Waldorf. But I'm very happy about the way the Waldorf is growing in Tamil Nadu. There is a school in Tirupur near E Road. One I think is coming up in Salem. Um, then there's another. Of course, has Waldorf schools. So like that, Waldorf schools are growing in Tamil Nadu.
Hmm. So I think there is one
Coimbatore,
huge
yeah, Coimbatore has
Coimbatore.
a very good school.
Yeah. Hmm. Yeah. Coimbatore has a very good birthing network also, much better.
Yeah,
Actually.
yeah. Lot of awareness there in Coimbatore,
Yeah, a
and
lot of
that E
awareness.
Road stretch.
Yeah, that stretch. So I think there is a huge training center also in Chennai, isn't it? I think a lot of teachers get trained in ERA or. I think, are you
Yes.
aware?
Dr.
Yeah, yeah.
Lakshmi and her
Oh,
team.
she's there. Okay.
Yeah. So she was one of the pioneer parents to bring Waldorf to India itself. So they were like the first parents who took that jump into Waldorf and tried it on their children. So she's based in Australia now, but she comes twice a year to provide training in IRA in Chennai. And all over India, people just rush to listen to her talks. Be it anyone, parent or a teacher or a caretaker or a grandparent, you will just be carried away by her talk.
Oh, nice. I have not yet listened to her. I need to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
We were all lucky then. She used to stay in India, so we were all lucky to be with her and listen to her so often then. But now, since she stays in Australia, it's only twice in a year that we can go to
that she
her.
comes.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. So just looking at something.
Somebody asked about flashcard.
Yes, someone has asked about flashcard.
Yeah, so I have seen a lot of young mothers being, influenced by these social media communities. that we need to introduce flashcards to children. And in my opinion, it is a very artificial concept. There are a lot of things in our house that stimulate a child and the child's whatever eye development or whatever, the child will naturally develop in a simple home setup. And if you look outside your window, India is so rich, full of things. We have birds, crows coming here, and the cows walking on the street, the beautiful flowers outside. All this is so beautiful for the child. Why do you want to show flashcards and develop the child's language? Just by talking to the child, singing to the child, showing a kaka, you can see so many parents say kaka nodu, and they feed the child, and they say nai bantu, nai gontuttu, nin gontuttu. So all that is rich vocabulary development which a child can see practically in front of him. In a flashcard, it is still a picture. So I don't think Waldorf recommends flashcards for babies.
Yeah. Okay. So I think this we have already covered. So someone's asked what's the difference between Montessori and Waldorf. So it is more of a difference between Waldorf and any other alternative philosophy. So
Yeah.
is there anything specific you would want to tell them?
See, Montessori means Montessori, or if you look at early childhood education, some of the alternative philosophies, still the concept remains to introduce a particular concept, like I gave an example of gardening, or say tree, for example. I want to introduce a tree. So when we go for nature walk, usually a Waldorf teacher would let the child walk into the park or the farm and experience the tree, observe a tree, climb a tree, look at the flowers, smell the flowers, look at the leaves, pick up leaves and put it on the nature table. But I have seen in many of the other philosophies, there is a lot of talking happening. Look, children, this is the brown color, this is the trunk of the tree, this is green color, these are red color flowers. So the children don't need to know so much of information about the tree. Because when you look at the tree, automatically, you are observing everything and you're learning everything about the tree. You don't need to bring it as an intellectual concept. That is a very major difference I feel is unique about Waldorf.
Okay. So it's more on observation and let it be. Let the child get it himself rather than
Yeah, we don't need to evaluate whether the child learnt it or not, because I trust my child has learnt it.
True. Nice. Okay. Anki has asked, is there a Waldorf city in E-City, Electronic City, if you are...
Yeah, HSR would be the closest one.
HSR, your Tulsi would be the closest one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. This is a big question, I'm going to read it out. If a kid is not wanting to touch sticky material, like while I was making papad with few kids, how do you encourage that kid to join hands? That is, how do you encourage them to get into such sensory experience?
Yeah, firstly, for a lot of young mothers, the child should start experiencing these kind of materials at a younger stage. But if you have missed out on that kind of experiences, give them more, make lot of chapati dough, make some soup, and let the child make the seekarne, the amras. You have to squeeze the mango, and then allowing the child to play with mud and water. So there's a lot of slush. The child can splash on himself. If you can see in my previous post, I have put how children are enjoying the slush play when we went to one of the outdoor play area. They're rolling in the slush. So this kind of more such experiences must be given. Then the child slowly begins to overcome these fears. And so what is good about Waldorf kindergarten is, when a child is taken alone, it is very different. But when a child is with a group of children, as a kindergarten, they see all the other children playing with slush, making chapati dough, and mixing this mango juice. when they see, they automatically want to be like them. So they learn, they overcome these kind of what to say resistance
Hesitation
much
or yeah.
easier when they are in an environment in a world of setup like this.
True. Like Rohan also, like initially used to love mud. Then suddenly he just was very finicky about mud. We don't know from where he got it. And then he's back to loving mud. So same thing with mangoes also. Like when you're eating, beyond a point it becomes very
Yes,
juicy. So, but he wants to
yes,
eat it. So he's got over it. We said, if he comes to us, we feed him. But then, like he's okay now. He wants to eat it by himself. So it's just, sometimes probably
yeah,
it's also just a phase that, they just have to
yeah. It's a
outgrow it
phase.
themselves. It's a
Yeah,
phase, yeah.
and when eating the fruits, getting messy is also very important. Like when eating a watermelon, if it's dripping, all that is very important. Licking your lips, around your lips, is a very good tongue movement for the child who are developing speech. So we are very nowadays we feel, oh, it's getting dirty, let's wipe it, let's clean the hands, keep our toilets very dry these days. So we are making it difficult for the child.
For them.
Hmm.
Okay. Nice. Are there any Waldorf training courses for parents? Ravi, I think,
Yeah.
or Kalyan.
At TIRA, teachers, parents can attend that training program.
Okay.
Apart from
Nice.
that, also we have Sadhana, which provides the foundation course for early child education. One can attend that, and we in Bangalore also we are coming up with a series, video series called Waldorf Window, wherein we want
Nice.
to educate new parents about Waldorf kindergarten.
Where is Sadhana based out of, Divya?
So Sadhana, they have members in different places like Bombay, Delhi. So they have regional mentors. In Bangalore, we have Mrs. Lata Madhusudan and Jyotsna. So similarly, in North, we have Sucheta, Preeti. So they look after the trainings there in the North, and we have other
Okay.
trainings in Bangalore as well.
Okay. I'm also aware that Kingdom of Childhood has a training for parents. It's a
Yes,
year-long
yes.
course. So if you're in, if anyone's interested, they can reach out to them.
Yes.
So yeah, are there anything held in Mumbai as of now? I think, if you are aware, you can tell them, or they can probably go to Sadhana page and check it out. Yeah.
Your voice is breaking up.
Now it's okay?
Yeah. Did you say something?
No, I was just saying, people are asking about different places like Mumbai. So I was saying probably they can check it out on the Sadhana website and they should be. So
Yes.
what is the entire website? Sadhana.org or Sadhana Waldorf? What should they search for?
I'm not too sure. I would have made a note of
Okay.
it. Maybe
No
they
problem.
can maybe just Google search Sadhana World of India, maybe something
Okay.
like that, and they will find it.
Okay.
Or on Facebook,
Okay.
they have Indian Kindergarten Association, World of Kindergarten Association of India.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Fine. I think people can check it out. So I don't see any more questions. I hope I've not missed anything. Just checking. 1 second. Yeah. So I think this was a great.
Yeah, somebody has
Someone has
commented with
put,
the
with the website
yes,
siwka.org. So if anyone's
yeah,
looking for,
Sadhana India World of Kindergarten Association. So that is
oh,
the short
nice.
form, CIVCA.
Such a short form. Nice. Okay. Great. Thanks a lot, Divya. Like it was really interesting. I also learnt a lot because I have a little bit of understanding. It was very interesting to see a lot of those materials, and also to share my experience with you.
Yes,
Like
yes. Parents must
I'm
come
quite.
forward and share experiences. I think that will make a huge difference.
True, true. Yeah, that's true. And I like it also gets better when more people get to know more about Waldorf, So, yeah, that ways I think it was a very, very beautiful session. Thanks a lot for, joining us today. And folks, do check out Divya's blog. I think she has it on mylittleBookshop.in. Correct, Divya? I think it's
Yes,
her blog is there.
mylittleBookshop.in. Yes.
And she has a lot of her articles on Facebook. I was reading through them, the excellent articles. Please take a look at it because it helps a lot in how we, like she said, how we should be at home, how we should heal ourselves and be just be good human beings, I guess, at the end of the day.
Yes. Slow down.
Yeah, slow down. Yeah, so that also I wanted to ask you. So slow parenting and all that. So we should, I think we should focus more on that. Yeah, thanks a lot. So and we would also be putting this up, this talk on our story and on our YouTube channel. So if in case any of you have missed the complete talk, to check it out. Divya, anything you would like to say? As a closing,
Thank you,
what
Shamala.
advice
Thank you
to
so
parents?
much.
Anything specific you can say? Yeah.
I think I've said enough. I've said a lot.
Great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you,
Okay,
Shamala.
thanks,
Thank you for
Divya.
having me here.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks, Divya. Pleasure was all ours. Okay. Bye. See you.
Bye. Bye.